It started with trying to use an AI generated thumbnails for one of my videos that was doing pretty good on its own with the original thumbnail from my video. And when I switched to it, my click-through rate started dropping, and I noticed this later on. Welcome to AI Creator Hub, where we will explore the power of AI in content creation. It had been months and it was still not doing so great. It was about a 3 to 4% difference, but that's big enough. And so I decided to use AI to kind of analyze what makes a good thumbnail and make suggestions. And I ended up with what I think is a really good thumbnail, and I'll see what the click-through rate improvements of it are soon, and I'll make a video about that also. But for now, I want to show you how that happened. Show you how I used ChatGPT to pick a still from the 7 I provided. It did an analysis on 7 images and told me which one's the best. It was quite conclusive. Then it told me, knowing I had Photoshop, exactly what steps and values to provide in order to enhance the image, which I did, and it was a remarkable improvement. Then I also used Photoshop AI, which is in beta, to introduce generative elements to the thumbnail, which I think made it a lot cleaner. So I'll talk about that now as I show you the process and then show you the end result. So this here was the thumbnail that I decided to do on my own without AI's help after the AI generated one started giving me a bad click-through rate. This one was not performing that well either. There were many issues with it, and this is where the ChatGPT session starts. I basically asked it, what do you think of this thumbnail? And it gave me some feedback. It said it could use some clarity with the text. The visual elements were off, the color scheme was off, there's no faces, there's no emotional elements to it. So what I did was I provided it with 7 stills from my video, and I'll just go through each of them so you can see. And I just took screenshots from the video itself. I provided that to it and asked it which is the best, and it picked best options screenshot 2 and 3. So 2 and 3. And it gave me reasons why. So screenshot 2 would likely perform better because it includes a human element. And so then I went off that. I took 2 more stills that include that, but I thought were also cleaner. And I asked it, out of these 2, what do you think? And the recommendation was screenshot 7, which was this one. And I like this one because it's very clean. There's not a lot of clutter like in the other ones. So it was a good starting point. I just made sure that it recommends 7 over 2, and the recommendation was screenshot 7. So I confirmed it, and it provided reasons. So I said I have it open in Photoshop, any suggestions? And it gave me step-by-step instructions on what I should do. And I did all that. I put in the title, the subtitle, the text placement it said, the color scheme. Then I asked for detailed specs for the titles, the sizes, color, effects, etc. And it broke it down into the actual specifications. So it started with the main title, gave me a size of 80 to 100 points, a black outline, a drop shadow, its position, and I put these exact values in for both the title and the subtitle. And it also gave me instructions on how to do it, but I'm already familiar with Photoshop, so didn't have to do that. I asked it for instructions on the best way to crop it, and so I cropped it. And then I asked it if I should do any effects or processing on the image before I add the text, and it gave me step-by-step instructions on how to do that also. So we created an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast, color balance, we sharpened the image, changed saturation, added a vignette, one of those, and gave me the detailed values for each of those also. So look at this, midtones, plus 10 red, plus 5 green, etc. And I did that exactly as it said, and let me tell you, it was a huge improvement. I did all of these smart sharpen, and I did all these other steps, and it turned out a lot better. Then I added in the text. I did all that, and I told it I was done, and then I want to make an LED glow effect on the roof so it looks like I have an LED strip. It guided me through all of that, gave me all of the values, and I ended up with that. But it didn't like it. I gave it the image, and I asked it, what do you think? It started giving me feedback. The text position was a bit off. The 4-day build was slightly overlapping the edge of the car roof, so over here it was a bit cluttered. So from that, I ended up switching them and asked it, what do you think? It said, yes, the layout is better, the text placement is balanced. So that's really impressive. Gave me some more suggestions, and that was it. That's what I ended up with. And finally, I used Photoshop AI generator features to do a couple changes. So let's look at the original. So I'm going to disable the last bit I generated, which was this car window. So the original image had a cardboard cutout that I was using as a template for insulation in my camper. So I highlighted this area with a lasso, and then I typed in car window with grass fields on the other side. And I ended up with this. And here we can see the different options it created. So it generated 9 options, and they were all pretty good. It kind of tried to make sense of the context of the image, but the one I went with, I believe, was this one. Was it? I don't know. It was one of them. I liked it much better. So it made it much cleaner. Now the other part was the original image here, and I'll open it actually. There we go. Notice how the original image had the air fryer lid open. And what I did was I regenerated this window portion with the lid closed, and it did that. And it looks just like the air fryer lid is closed, but it just created that on its own. It also created a wheel here for the car behind, which is amazing. You couldn't even tell. So with these two technologies, I was able to make this thumbnail, and we'll see in a couple months how it performs, and I'm hoping it does pretty good. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more AI-powered content creation tips, make sure to subscribe.